I would like to thank Ashton Lewis for sending me this story that is coming out of Maine via the Bangor Daily News. When I first saw this, I said, I hope this isn't like a hoax article, because sometimes some of these websites and these names kind of throw me off. Until I read the title of the article, then I knew it was very real. But before I get into the good part of this article and rather interesting part, let me introduce it. This man's name is Jeffrey Pierce, and he used to be a state representative for the state of Maine. And the reason why he lost his position is because he had a felony level drug trafficking conviction. You heard that correctly. And would you believe that this guy is 35? That this is a hard 35. I have seen people 10 years older than him who are black who look 10 years younger than he does now in this picture. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because there's only one time or few, if you've been following my videos, that I ever bring up the state of Maine. And that is when I have to talk my shit about that Governor LaPiece of shit, also known as Governor LePage of Maine. Now, if y'all remember, he said that he has to stop drug trafficking coming in and out of his state from people like D Money and Swifty and whatever name he came up with to describe a black man. Well, guess what happened? Governor LaPiece of shit offered a pardon for this guy for that felony level drug trafficking thing he had going on in the state that he is a governor of while he was governor. Because, he's still governor now. He's been governor for quite some time. All of this is happening while on his watch. So let me get this straight. You were profiling black men that weren't even in your state. And for the little bit that may have been also in your state. I'm talking about a very small percentage, because the black ratio in Maine is so tiny, it looks like a damn mustard seed. So you profile all these black men for what you claim to be drug trafficking charges or drug trafficking period. Yet you had this guy right under your nose doing all of that, and you said nothing. You would think that the white people up there just never touched drugs the way he came at black people, especially black men. Yet you had this guy who was doing it all along, and you gave him a pardon. Talk about being on code. Now, I can see why this article that I will read is coming from a website like this, because lamestream media ain't going to touch it. Now, if he was able to get his D Money and his Swifty, all them big media outlets would have been all over this like white on rice. Let me go ahead and read this article. Governor Paul LaPiece of shit pardoned a former Republican state lawmaker for a 35-year-old felony level drug trafficking conviction, a move that could affect an ongoing investigation into whether that same lawmaker illegally hunted with firearms. Former state representative Jeffrey Pierce of Dresden said he requested clemency for the conviction, and that he was notified by LePage's office that the governor had signed the pardon late last week. Pierce did not agree to a recorded interview, but he reiterated previous comments in which he described the conviction as ancient history and the main Democratic Party's move to publicize his past during his unsuccessful re-election bid as dirty politics. Pierce also acknowledged that he had hunted with firearms since his conviction, but said he did not realize that he was violating state and federal laws which prohibit anyone convicted of a felony level crime from possessing firearms. So now, hold on. You're a state representative. Wouldn't you and shouldn't you know the state laws? I'll tell you what it is. He probably thought his privilege would work and that he could just bypass the laws because of what he looks like and because of the position that he had. But he just found out today that that wasn't the case. The firearms violation is the subject of an investigation by the Maine Warden Service, a probe that is still open, according to Maine Warden Service spokesman John McDonald. Excuse me. So this guy not only was doing something illegally, he was doing this while the case was still open. Talk about privilege gone wrong. Under state law, a pardon does not expunge a criminal record, but makes it confidential in most instances. The governor's office did not respond to emails or phone messages seeking comment. Pierce was among a core group of House Republicans who were loyal to LePage during his 2 terms as governor. LePage's final day in office is when, that is music to my ears. This man's finally about to be out of office. You know what's so crazy? I don't even live anywhere near the state of Maine. I've never been there, don't plan on being there, but being all the way where I'm at, I'm glad to hear that. But you know what's so crazy? They may replace him with someone just as corrupt. And what's so crazy is he had to go through his whole term and didn't get not one D money or not one Swifty, but he got himself a Jeffrey. LePage's final day in office is Wednesday. He will be succeeded by Democratic Governor-elect Janet Mills. Pierce was convicted of felony-level drug trafficking in 1983 after selling cocaine and marijuana to an undercover police officer. He has other misdemeanor offenses for the years between 1980 and 2006. That's a huge gap. So let me go back and take back from what I said about his age. This guy's older than 35, but I wouldn't be surprised because, you know, some people who look like this could be 35. But the year was attached to how many years he's been doing this. That's a long time. He's been doing this since before I was born. State and federal laws bar convicted felons from possessing firearms. It is also unlawful for a felon to obtain a firearm hunting permit, and applications expressly ask people seeking licenses to state whether they have been convicted of a crime. LePage has taken a tough approach on drug traffickers in particular. He supported tougher sentences for drug traffickers and pushed for more law enforcement resources to combat the Maine opioid plague. His position has caused controversy for joking during a radio interview that convicted traffickers should be executed by a guillotine, and later for falsely suggesting that the majority of people arrested for drug trafficking are, get this, black or Hispanic. There goes back to your D-Moneys and your Swifties, and for the Hispanic, there goes your Jose's and your Pedros. Pierce says he has had long since moved on from his checker past. He told Maine Public Radio that he was upset when Democrats publicized his criminal record during the campaign. Well, boo fucking who? Guess what? They like to expunge black people's records all the time when it has nothing to do with the case, but they need to find a way to justify why they were killed unjustly. Pierce lost his re-election bid to Allison Hepler. I'm like, why did he think he was even going to win? He said he planned to release a full statement about his pardon sometime on New Year's Day. As if I could care even more. Well, I'm glad that Governor LaPiece of shit is out, and apparently it is now after 12 a.m. It is officially Thursday, January 3rd, which means as of yesterday, January 2nd, 2019, he has been out of office. Well, that's good news, but that probably won't stop him from being an asshole. And you know what? He practically went against all his little principle, talking about going to send someone to the guillotine for drug trafficking. Yet you had the guy drug trafficking for 3 decades. Probably since before he was even governor. Because I think they said 2 terms. So this had to be before he was even governor. So he's been doing this under other people's administration. Doesn't surprise me in the least bit, but it just shows you the hypocrisy. So it looks to me like D-Money and Swifty and Pedro and Jose were all Jeffrey rolled into one. And see, he got off scot-free in my honest opinion. Because if he was black, book would have been thrown at him. Key would have been tossed away. Him being a white guy and having his position is what really kept this under wraps until now. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. The links will be in the description. I'll talk to you in the next one.